Build your better breakfast at Subway with the tasty 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any delicious egg muffin melt. And don't hit the snooze on this deal. Right now, come in before 11 a.m. for a $5 foot-long breakfast sub. Subway, eat fresh. The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't
The
care.
BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. Another sunny day here in Southern California. Cousin Sal and the Week 11 Lions coming up. But first, I had to call this guy. He's just in the middle of all these unbelievable football games, and it's becoming comical because I've been writing that, you know, if Gus Johnson is doing the game, we have to factor that into the point spread. That means something exciting is going to happen. And week after week, he keeps topping himself. So we're going to talk to him right now on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. He's on the line outside on some street in New York City. Gus Johnson, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, Dollar Bill, man? Just chilling and relaxing on a great Monday afternoon in the big city.
Well, all of us have been waiting for you to call Hail Mary. And it's finally happened. Walk us through the Hail Mary. You reached your destiny finally.
Well, you know, we used to say that prayer in Catholic school when I was on the football team. But, yeah, man, I mean, it came out of nowhere to me. Those plays never really work. I don't know how many Hail Marys have been thrown, but generally that never happens. So the Jaguars got to midfield after that penalty, and then David Garrard goes back and he just fires it, and Mike Sims-Walker was the closest man to the football. And I thought Glover Quinn did what he was taught to do. He knocked it down. And all of a sudden, because when he knocked it down, for some reason I think my eyes went to the monitor.
Yeah.
So I kind of didn't see it until Steve said he caught it. And then I looked and I said, he did catch it. And my spotter did a great job. He just put his finger on Mike Thomas's name. And I just said, Mike Thomas. And all of a sudden, wow, you got a Hail Mary. I've never been a part of that. And,
Yeah, you said it got batted down. And then Steve said...
it got batted down, exactly.
And Steve said, he caught it! And then you
He caught it.
And you went crazy. You went to DEFCON 0, as I tweeted
I had to go to DEFCON 0.
And then you threw in the cackle at the end, which I enjoyed.
Right, because it's so, I mean, you know, I just try to have fun out there. I really enjoy my job. I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah.
So it tickled me because in my mind, the thing I thought about was, man, it seems like the last 5 weeks, every game has been a crazy, crazy game.
Yep.
And out of nowhere, this game becomes the craziest. I mean, I think that can be either the top or one of the top plays in the league this season.
Well, I was on to this a couple weeks ago. I started actually looking up to see what games you were going to broadcast, and then factoring that into my picks and just thinking like, all right, Gus is doing this game. That means it's going to be close. And I wrote that it was the law of Gus. And then the third game out of that 5-game streak, that was close. So then the next week I was like, law of Gus strikes again. Did it again. And now this week I actually wrote a whole paragraph about the law of Gus, which is my theory is that God is in his man cave every Sunday, and he figures out which game you're announcing, and then he decides he's going to make something crazy happen in that game to see what you do. What do you think?
You know what, man? From your mouth to God's ears. If that's the situation, I'm happy about it. I'm happy that I'm on the big fella's mind, man, and that you know we can have some fun out there watching these games because the last 5 weeks, I feel like the NFL has been like the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
It's just been wild and crazy, and especially for my crew, with these great finishes. So, you know, if I got favor with the big guy, I definitely want to make sure I keep that intact. And, you know, our crew, you know, we got an interesting crew. Our crew, because when we first started, we were the sixth team. So as a team building thing, we start calling ourselves Slick Six. So now, Slick Six, man, we always get these crazy games. You know, it's like when the Slick Six mothership takes off, you never know what crazy interplanetary destinations you may end up in. So, you know, you're having a lot of fun, man.
I gotta ask. Do they plan your schedule ahead of time, or do they look at the schedule like on a Monday and say, "Ooh, we got to send Gus to that game"?
No, they don't really do it like that. They usually give us 2 or 3 weeks in advance. I knew that I was going to do that game 2 weeks ago. I'm doing Buffalo and Cincinnati this weekend. So I did that 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And next week I'm doing Oakland and Miami. So you pretty much know about a couple of weeks out.
All right, so you've just broken the news on the BS report that the Buffalo-Miami game is going to have a crazy ending.
Cincinnati.
Buffalo, Cincinnati. And then what was the next one, Miami, Oakland?
Miami at Oakland, yeah.
All right, so that's going to end in some sort of crazy fashion. Well, this is good. I'm glad now I can factor that into my thoughts when I prepare.
You don't jinx it. Don't jinx it, Bill. Don't put the jinx on me, man, you know?
I see. If I had jinxed you, it would have been last week when I wrote a whole thing about the law of Gus, and then you called a Hail Mary. Even I can't stop this at this point.
That's right. Okay, that's cool. I hope we can keep it up, man.
Now, if you had called the NCAA men's title championship the Butler Duke game and the half court shot, I really think your head might have exploded. Is that possible?
I think it is. You know, I mean that'd be a good way to die. Only a couple of good ways to die, which would be one, watching a great game, and I'm sure you guys can imagine the other one. But, you know, I think that if I had a chance to call that game, that would have been fun. I mean, because what did he hit it off the back rim? It was off the back rim. So
he just missed it.
He missed it by like 2 inches.
Yeah.
Less than 2 inches, you know, if he had taken just that much off of it. But we had great games, though. I don't know. I didn't hear from you during that time. We had that Xavier-Kansas State game. Now, that was the best game I've ever called. I
was going to ask you, so I wrote that you reached DEFCON 0 yesterday. So the DEFCON goes from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. And when a game gets exciting, you'll be somewhere between 2 and 3. But occasionally you might get to 1. I thought yesterday was 0. What were the other, in your career, were there any other games that you can remember other than the Brandon Stokely play that was just like you just reached that top level?
You mean football or just any game?
Anything.
Oh, I thought last year that Xavier-Kansas State game, you know, you say DEFCON 0.
Yeah.
You know how in physics when they talk about the universe and the Big Bang Theory and how you had this big explosion and whatnot 14 billion years ago. But the big question is, what time was before 0? Okay? What was the time before that /1? So, to me, that Xavier-Kansas State game, I was somewhere before 0, you know?
Wow.
It was so great. It was so invigorating. I mean, the crowd was incredible. And the kids were out there on the floor just giving it to them. I mean, Jordan Crawford, and then he hits that three-point shot to send it into double overtime.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nirvana for me. It's just you pray that you have a chance to be a part of a game like that. And for me, there's nothing better than college basketball at that time of year. And
I'm with you.
It was just a really sweet feeling.
How has your life changed since you became the voice of Madden?
Well, I got a lot of 7 and 8 and 9 and 10-year-old kids, you know, that come up to me and give me high fives. I think that's pretty cool. A lot of guys seem like they like the game, and so, but it really hasn't changed that much. I mean, it's just, it's a game that obviously is something that people love. You know, I did my part, and but it's pretty much still the same.
Did you have fun doing the? I mean, you had to kind of fake the enthusiasm a couple times, but.
Oh yeah, you have to. I mean, that's.
You must have enjoyed that secretly, right? You get to go in the studio and just go nuts, kind of practicing your chops a little bit.
Well, you know what? I do it so often on TV that you know, going in the booth and having to do it. Because remember, like, you can have a play that goes 102 yards, for a touchdown. So I gotta do a 102-yard call, a 101-yard call, a 100-yard call, a 99-yard call, a 98-yard call, and all the way down.
Wow.
At that high temperature. So, I would lose my voice sometimes. But at the same time, it was a lot of fun because to me, it was like being a part of an artistic piece. I mean, it's a time capsule piece that will be talked about and remembered for what it featured forever. So I really enjoyed the artistic process of it and trying to be creative with sports with some of the most talented people that I've ever met in my life. The guys that work at EA Sports. My producer, Ronnie Morales, was awesome.
How many days do you have to record that stuff? Is it like a full week?
Well, no, it took us 6 months.
Really?
Yeah, 6 months because I was in the booth a total of 65 hours, between 65 and 70 hours.
Wow.
And you could only go for a small amount of time because you would lose your voice or you would lose your energy level. Then you'd have to stop because you didn't want them to record something and put in the game that wasn't what you wanted it to be, wasn't energetic, or especially once you get tired and you start getting flat. Because remember, I'm calling games at the time, going to work, and sometimes you just didn't have it. So it took a while, 6 months, and we finally got it down, and we're getting ready to start working on 12 next week.
And you probably had to drink a lot of coffee during that 65 hours.
Yeah, I'm a huge coffee drinker. I even had to drink some tea to keep the pipes loose.
Ah, interesting. Since we last talked to you, you had the Knicks job, and now you don't work for the Knicks anymore. Are you all right with that? Was there any bitterness?
No bitterness at all. Not at all.Ose guys were great to me. Have been since I walked in the door when I was about 27, 28 years old. They gave me every opportunity that I have. Every door that has been opened to me came because of my relationship with the Garden, man, and the MSG Network. So no bitterness, not at all. I think what happened, to be quite frank with you, my son's 7 years old, and between doing the Knicks and the Big Ten Network and CBS and Showtime, there's a time of the year where, I was getting to the point where I wouldn't see him for like 3 weeks, sometimes even a month, because he doesn't live with me and lives with his mom. So, I have my days. I'm trying to schedule stuff. And it just got really hard, and I missed him. And I miss him, And it was just time to spend more time with him. And it gives me an opportunity to, he's got a play that he's in on Friday, so I'm going to get a chance to go to that. And, he's in the chorus, he's singing and acting, and I get a chance to be a part of it, and to me that was what was weighing heavy on me. So unfortunately it didn't work out, but I wish him nothing but the best. I'm a Knicks fan, and I hope we can pull ourselves out of these situations that we're in with our season.
You're also close with Isaiah Thomas, who really seems like he just wants to come back. Where do you see his head at right now?
I don't know. When I talked to him last, he seemed like he was enjoying being a college coach, but he's a world champion and he's an NBA guy, so I'm sure that there's some place in his DNA that wants to get back into the NBA. I mean, it is the NBA; it's the greatest collection of athletes, I think, in the world.
Yeah.
So I hope that Zeke somehow gets back into the league somewhere. I think he still has a lot of things to offer. Does have great relationships with players, and I think he's learned from some of the mistakes that he's made. So, maybe that'll make for a better executive in basketball.
As somebody who was tight with the Knicks for these last few years, right, you kind of feel bad how this worked out for them. Like they planned for 2 years to get LeBron or Wade or whoever, and now they basically got Stoudemire and Ray Felton. How you sense the mood in the city toward the team right now?
Well, the city has always been so positive for the Knicks, even when things have gone wrong, and things have been going wrong for almost a decade now. People want the Knicks to be good. I want the Knicks to be good. New York wants the Knicks to be good because there's nothing like this city when the Knicks are playing well. I mean, it's a basketball town more than any other town to me.
Yeah.
And it's Manhattan. Not the Bronx. It's not New Jersey. It's not Queens. It's Manhattan, and it's the center of the world. And people in New York like to say that basketball really was created here and promoted here at the world's most famous arena. So, it's kind of a downer seeing that we're not playing the way that we wanted to play. It's funny, I can say that now. I'm not their announcer anymore. I can be actually a real fan. I can say we.
Right.
I like that. That feels good. But we're not playing the way we want to play. I saw Stoudemire got a little upset yesterday in the locker room after the loss to Houston. So, hopefully they'll be able to figure it out and maybe get Carmelo Anthony and just figure out how to dig themselves out of this hole that they're digging themselves, that they've dug for themselves, rather, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it seems like the Carmelo thing is just going to happen. I don't know whether it happens the next 2 months or the summer or whatever, but it just seems like now they're in a holding pattern until that happens, which if you're a Knicks fan, it's got to worry you a little because you were in a holding pattern for LeBron for the last 2 years, and that didn't happen. But I feel like this is going to happen.
I do, too. I do actually, though, but I felt like the LeBron situation was going to happen. I never really saw him going to Miami to play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Back in the old days with Magic and Bird and Isaiah and all the great players, they didn't team up like that. They kind of took pride in having their own team and building it, just like Kobe or Michael, what they've done. I mean, you add players, but, 3 proven superstars, two proven superstars. I think Bosh is still a work in progress.
Yeah, he's not. I'm not giving him the superstar tag.
No.
I agree with you. I just don't think LeBron fully realized how much he could have owned New York. Maybe it wasn't important to him. I don't know. But I just think that if he had gone there, compared to what he has now, he's playing for somebody else's team, basically. And in a city that just basketball just doesn't mean as much as it does in New York. I just think it's a shame. I wish he could press the reset button and do it over.
Yeah, but you got to be built for New York.
Maybe he's not.
I don't think he was built for New York, because of the criticism. I don't know how he would have dealt with the criticism. It's rough. It's tough. You got to have thick skin. You have to be able to embrace criticism. It's part of the deal. And I don't know if he would have been able to handle that. So
that's interesting. And I think Amari,
easier route.
Amari's actually kind of in a weird way built for it. He likes being the center of attention. I think he likes having the heat on him. It's a good city for him. Maybe who knows?
He likes it for now, right now.
Right.
They're still giving him the benefit of the doubt. But as the leader of the team, if things keep going south, they were booing him last night, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
And they're going to turn up the heat on him. It's going to be a problem for him down the road. So hopefully he can still keep that great attitude as he goes through this season. But who knows? Because once the pressure starts, it's going to be rough.
Well, the big thing for them is if Gallinari isn't what I think the Knicks fans were hoping he was going to be, that's going to really hurt them because either he was going to be the third piece of the puzzle for when they get a second superstar or somebody that they could have traded for somebody, and right now he's not either. And
yeah, right. He's shooting 37% from the field, I think, 32% from the three-point line.
Can't guard anybody.
He's not a bad defender. He can guard people. It's just
you could score. You could get 40 on him.
You can't get 40.
You could.
No, get out of here. I couldn't get 1 point on him. He's 6 feet 10 inches tall, and I'm.
Oh, please. You take him right to the rim.
Yeah, I take him to the rack, right? Built on him, right? Yeah, right. So hopefully he'll play a little bit better. They get some of those guys that are hurt, like Azubuike, come back, and hopefully they'll figure something out.
All right, Gus Johnson. So you're going to where are you going again this week? I forget.
Buffalo against Cincinnati at Cincinnati.
So you're going to Cincinnati the Buffalo Bills at the Cincinnati Bengals, and something magical is going to happen. And then that's followed by Miami at Oakland.
Right.
The streak is at 5.
We got a big fight. Listen, you got to start watching the fights. We got a big fight doing on Showtime.
What is it?
Next week not this weekend, coming up, following weekend in Oakland.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving weekend. This is part of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Andre Ward and Vico are going to square off in Oakland. Carl Froch, Arthur Abraham will be fighting in the fight before from Finland. So we're going to join those two broadcasts together and have a good night of fighting on Showtime.
I've been following the Super 6. The problem was a couple guys dropped out, right? You had to replace a couple of them?
Yeah.
So
guys got hurt. Taylor got hurt.
Right.
Nickel Kessler got hurt. Andre Durrell got hurt. So unfortunately, those guys withdrew. But I think the tournament is still a lot of fun because Andre Ward is a terrific fighter. I think he's the one American fighter that's young and still coming up that the country is going to be interested in watching as he goes on in his career. And he's with Showtime, and Ken Hirschman, our vice president, just signed some other very, very good fighters. We're going to have more tournaments, different weight classes. So I think it's going to be something to watch.
I agree with you on Andre Ward.
I think Andre Ward is an Olympic champion and got great training in his corner. He's a tough guy, religious guy, but don't take that the wrong way. He's a killer when he gets in the ring, and he's just somebody that you're going to want to see. He reminds me of a Sugar Ray Leonard type, a Roy Jones Jr. type, somebody that as he continues to improve, you're going to really enjoy watching him because he's not afraid to take tough fights.
Right. All right, Gus Johnson. I hope the law of Gus continues this week. It's been a fun ride. 5 straight games. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for having me, and as always, thanks for the support, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care.
Amen.
All right, time to count down the Week 11 lines with our old buddy Cousin Sal. He's in the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Cousin Sal, another wacky week of the NFL in the books. The top 4 NFL teams lost yesterday, and if you count Baltimore on Thursday night, I think that means the top 5 lost. It's just I used the snow globe analogy a couple weeks ago, but every week it just seems like we're shaking the snow globe. Cousin Sal, who's like your top 3 right now?
I was thinking about it last night. Like every week we have to do this because it seems like they expect like people on radio and podcasts to anoint a Super Bowl winner every week. But here's how I was thinking about it. Patriots looked great yesterday, but Patriots, Colts, Ravens, Steelers, Jets, those 5 teams, if they played each other, they could win any day. It could be different, They could win at home or on the road against each other. Mix up those 5 teams, and those are the best. I still keep an NFC team out of there.
So we've reached a point where it's just going to be impossible to gamble on any of these games because I don't totally trust anybody. Like I thought the Patriots were going to cover last night. I just thought the line, the 4.5, was a little insulting when you factored in the Pittsburgh offensive line problems. But the Pats could easily lose at home to Indy this week. Like I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. So right. I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking with these teams, and hopefully it'll shake out. It does seem like this happens every year around this time, where you have to start making money.
Yeah.
For Christmas gifts, and then everyone sucks, or everyone's just as good or just as bad at the same time, and just you throw your hands in the air.
The one interesting thing about this year, I mean, because it does seem like we say this every year, oh my God, it's so crazy, but this is the first time, I think in 41 years or 51 years, since 1959, that we don't have a 1-loss or a 0-loss team going into Week 11.
Yeah.
Everybody has 2 losses.
I'm still confident we will have a 1-loss team by Week 12. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think it'll shake out.
Well, I'd like to congratulate you and myself for single-handedly swinging the outcome of the Giants game yesterday. I think that was one of our finest moments ever. The 3-team tease, we tell people not to do it. We tell ourselves not to do it, and then we ended up doing it. We did Pacquiao, Tampa to win, and the Giants to win, and Pacquiao won, Tampa won. The natural inclination, of course, would be to say, all right, well, now we'll take Dallas plus 13 and we'll middle it. We never do that. We never, ever do it. We always wait till halftime, and then something crazy happens, and there's no way to middle it, and we lost, and we deserve to lose.
Yep, that was it. I can never, ever be fully satisfied with a Cowboys win, as they come so few and far between. So, that's a story of my life. I mean, why should they respond? I mean, I love them, and I have mixed feelings about this win because I'm not sure I want Jason Garrett as our coach, but what the hell? Why would they respond to Jason Garrett? What did Felix Jones and Marion Barber and Roy Williams have against Wade Phillips? He had nothing to do with them. He was running the defense. And now maybe they're just scared for their jobs, and they played well yesterday. I don't get it at all.
It had all the makings just from the get-go. You just kind of tell. Cowboys were flying around. The one part that doesn't make sense to me is John Kitna just all of a sudden turning into vintage, old-school John Kitna, who wasn't even very good.
Right. I mean, Garrett, like 2 weeks ago, is it possible that he was purposely calling terrible plays like that Pop Warner kids would get bored with? I mean,
don't laugh, because I was thinking that yesterday.
I'm not laughing. I'm very sad about this. I know.
Let's say Dickie. Let's say Jimmy's in trouble at ABC. Dickie is the logical guy to be the interim host of the show.
Yeah.
And Dickie is like the head writer of the show as well, and he's just pitching terrible, terrible, terrible ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fire Jimmy and they say to Dickie, all right, man, it's your show. And then all of a sudden Dickie has awesome ideas. Like, that would actually be a smart move by Dickie.
Yeah. Dickie told Gronkowski not to block on Romo's season-ending sack. I could see it all. They should launch an investigation because we weren't even close to converting 3rd and 22s 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. I mean, your worst-case scenario would be that them doing just well enough that Jerry Jones will feel bad and give him an extension, and then you don't get Bill Cowher or John Gruden.
I agree. And I don't think we're going to hear Gruden or Cowher. I mean, it's gotten to a point where they're talking about no football next year, so there's no incentive at all for Jerry Jones to pay a Gruden or a Cowher, next year or, until they know there's going to be football. So
I got to say, as a Patriot fan, very excited, very happy this morning, very giddy. It was an old-school, vintage, ass-kicking Tom Brady performance.
It was, and he was very emotional last night.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? I mean,
that's how he used to be.
I know. Emotional with the long hair. He reminded me of, like, Blair from Facts of Life a little bit.
Come on.
Really? No, she's a pretty girl. You should like her.
It was a performance.
Yeah.
It was. Now, he wasn't just good. He wasn't just making all the throws and all that stuff, but he put his personality in that game, and I love the shots of him yelling at his teammates. I felt like that's the kind of stuff he just wasn't doing anymore. He seemed detached.
And it seemed like a couple different games in there, too. Like, they did the methodical Pats thing where, like passing short and playing tough defense, and then it's like 16-3 in the fourth, and you're like, I don't know, is this the Steelers just not showing up? But then the Steelers turned it on. The Pats just had an answer for every drive, and they looked really good.
Now, where do you stand on a team going for 2 up 19?
I saw your thing on it. I don't think they thought they were in jeopardy of losing the game, or I don't even think they thought the Steelers had a chance to come back to 3 scores. But being up 21 is being up better than being up 20. There was a little downside, I thought.
I mean, I'm not just because I've seen other teams do this, and I'm approaching it from the video game mentality.
Yeah,
I think it's really hard. It's basically impossible to score 3 touchdowns in 10 minutes or 11 minutes or whatever. And the Colts, I think, are the only team I've ever seen even do that. They did it in the 2006 AFC title game. But getting a touchdown with the 2-point, cutting it to 11. Now, I know at the probability outcomes of 3 touchdowns, it's more likely that a team can score 3 touchdowns than get 2 touchdowns, 2 points, and a field goal. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can get it to 11, and there's like 8 minutes or less, somewhere between 4 and 8 minutes left, I feel like 11 is doable. Like throw out the probability. It's just like, it's conceivable to me that if you get it to 11, you get a touchdown, then maybe you get the onside and you're able to get the field goal. But scoring 3 touchdowns doesn't seem conceivable to me.
So what do you say? You're saying they shouldn't have gone for 2?
I'm saying I'm taking the 20 points because at that point Pittsburgh has to score 3 touchdowns to beat me. And even though the probability says that that's a little more likely, I think when you're in the heat of the game and the team that has the lead is choking, and they're down 11, then all of a sudden that team's driving again and they can suddenly get this to 3, that's where probability you can't factor it in because you're not able to factor in the emotion of the game and the comeback.
It's such a slight difference, though, I think.
Yeah.
And it is still 3 scores. If they're up 19, if they screw up the 2-point conversion, they're up 19, Steelers still have to score 3 times. You're saying 2 8s and a 3, right? 2-point conversion.
Well, they got it. They got it to they had it at the Pittsburgh got it to 12. And then Tomlin, for some reason, went for the 2-point.
Right.
And did he get it? I think he did get it. Yeah, I can't remember either.
I don't know.
All I'm saying is I was nervous. I would not have been nervous if we were up 20. Let's go to the Week 11 lines because I did not plan them ahead of time this week because I've been doing that the last 2 weeks, and you beat me last week. So
all right.
I'm going fresh.
What am I going to say here? I'll warn you in advance, I picked 4 of them on the nose, but 2 of them I was off by 6.5 points. So I don't even know what that says about this. But
wow.
Here we go. You're up 6-2-2 in weeks. And Week 11 starts with Thursday, Chicago at Miami.
That was a tough loss for me in the Vegas contest. To have Tennessee and have both of Miami's quarterbacks be out before the fourth quarter and to still lose is a tough one to swallow.
But we had to keep that on the big screen. As good as the Jets-Browns game was, our friend Tony was there, and we had to keep that Dolphins game on the big screen.
Are you serious?
Over 13 with 6 minutes left. Oh, yeah, Brad was going crazy. Good times.
That's terrible.
But
so Chicago at Miami.
Chicago at Miami, Thursday night.
With Tyler Thigpen, definitely.
I think so, and I don't think this is bad for them, really. He could be their guy. Why not?
I actually thought Tyler Thigpen had some moments once upon a time.
He did. He had some great fantasy moments, which our friend Hench is still crying about. But, Pennington doesn't throw downfield. You know what you're getting with him. Thigpen, at least there's an upside. I'm
going to say Miami by 1.5.
All right. I said you're going to get this because I said Miami by 3, and it's 2.
Okay.
So you're up 1-0.
Thank you.
Decent Thursday game.
Now, the Bears are 6-3. This is funny. The Chicago fans are like emailing me and tweeting me like, so much for being putrid. 6-3, suck it. First of all, like, what possesses people to do that? Like, so I have an opinion the Bears aren't good. You have to email me. Like,
how
that's
do they
stupid.
relay that voice in an email?
I don't know. I don't know how they do that. But can we all agree the Bears aren't good? Do we have to now talk ourselves into them being good because they're 6-3?
I think they're fine.
You think they're mediocre?
I think they're mediocre. And like I said last week, they're the team I would target. God, they can't win that division, can they? But anyway, if they were a 5th seed, I'd love to bet against them on the road.
Me too. I'm going to root for them to make the playoffs now, so we can do that. But they do have their last 7 is tough.
But let me just say, yesterday, didn't it seem like no one was giving any of the home teams in the close games a fair shake? Everyone had Tennessee over Miami, Minnesota over Chicago, KC over Denver.
Yep.
It just seemed like 2 of those were going to go down, and I think all 3 did. So
biggest mistake I've made in my Vegas contest yet. I took all the bandwagony road favorites, which I had been trying to avoid. I should have taken the Rams +6. I'll do the Tennessee bet again. I'm still not sure how they lost that. The Minnesota one was more of a pick against the Bears, which is irrational. And the KC Denver, I guess just stay away from that division completely. Is that the move?
And that brings it to the next game, Arizona at KC. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that division. Either of these West divisions. There's a casino I read was giving out 100-to-1 odds if you could predict the winner of both West divisions.
I think KC at home might be salvageable. I'm going to give this KC by 6.
All right, this is one of my picks that I got exactly. KC by 7.
Where'd you stand on Todd Haley being upset at Josh McDaniels?
That's kind of stupid. What did they do? They scored 2 touchdowns, and I wouldn't be upset at all. I think he's just a guy who gets upset about a lot of things. So. But
he looked like such a douche.
I know.
And plus, like, Denver gave up 59 points a couple weeks ago. Like, no lead is safe with them.
Yeah.
So you gotta, even if it's 30 points, you gotta protect it.
I agree.
I thought that was pretty lame. Made me not like him.
I think a lot of these West Coast teams, Goodell wants to do something for the sport. He should make them move east because I can't stand watching these 2 out of the 3 late afternoon games of these West teams that, no offense to anyone out West, and I live out West, that I don't care about, you know? Just one game's out of hand, the other one involves Arizona or the Rams.
They should. they should have moved one of those games to one of those good 1 o'clock games to 4, and they used to do that. Like that Jets Cleveland game was a classic game that would normally have been on at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
They load up that early part. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I went to my kid's book fair yesterday. I didn't even care if I saw the late games.
You did?
Yeah, I missed the late games. I
got to hang out with my kids.
Yeah, you should.
Good. Detroit at Dallas. I mean, what do you base this on? Is this, is it 2 weeks ago the Lions are given 3.5 at Dallas? What?
I'm going to say Dallas by 4.
All right, I hit it exactly because I had a feeling they would do this. They pushed it all the way up to 7. And that's
really?
too high.
Yeah, that's too high.
Yeah.
I think I don't even remotely trust this Dallas team. You know what, though? That makes sense because Detroit really didn't look good in that Buffalo game.
Well, they didn't look good, but you can't think that this same Dallas team that showed up yesterday, this is what's going to be the rest of the year. I just don't feel like it is. Unless Kitten and Roy Williams have a score to settle with their old Lions team. Would you say that was one of the great cover frenzies in the history of the league during that one 15, 20-minute stretch where you had... What did you say, cover frenzy? Yeah, cover frenzies. You had Detroit with the backdoor cover and then missing the 2-point, but they covered against the Bills. Oh, right, yeah. You had Cincinnati with the backdoor cover at Indy. Right. You had Jacksonville covering on a Hail Mary. That was insane, yeah. And then you have the Jets playing 74 minutes, giving 3, and then covering the -3 in the 75th minute. Yeah, that made no sense at all. And what kind of odds do you put on the Jets covering 3? They don't even have the ball with 40 seconds left inside the 5. Inside the 5. It was a couple terrible plays. First, the guy catching the interception, which I know it's the heat of the moment, but man, that killed them because it was basically like putting a punt on the 3-yard line. Yeah. And then I wasn't crazy about the play call and the Browns did. Well, here's the thing about catching the interception. It's weird because we saw both sides of this yesterday, probably within, like you said, 10 minutes of each other. You see the Browns defender catching the ball at the 3, which seems like a mistake. It would have been 4th and 14. They would have punted it. But then you see the Texans defender batting it down like you should. Yeah. It goes for a game-winning touchdown. So I don't know. I think the answer is to bat it down into your own genitals, and then and that's it. Nothing could go wrong there. Or bat it sideways. Yeah, bat it towards the pylon or something. It does seem like that when the Hail Mary works, it's usually the guy who trails the play. Yeah. That was the greatest Hail Mary of all time, the Billy White Shoes Johnson. Billy White Shoes, yeah. Caught it on the 4 and had to juke and dive and do a whole bunch of stuff. I'd like to see more of those. It had been 8 years or something since we've seen. Is that true? I mean, the odds of Gus calling that game too. He was waiting. I always thought he peaked with the Brandon Stokely. Yeah. But this was better. That was great. Yeah. On top of this game. Let's do Baltimore at Carolina. Carolina's awful. Yeah. I still have them 32. Yeah, they're pretty bad. I don't know what they do either. I mean, the 2 good quarterbacks are coming out, but I'm not sure if you can't what do you do if you don't love your quarterback, Clausen, but you'll take a lot of crap for drafting another one with the first pick? I'm jacking this one all the way up to 9.5. Wow. All right, you called it. I said 7, and it is 9. Yeah. So. And that should go up to 10, and we'll throw that in a 3-team tease that with us. The best thing you can say about this Panthers team is that Mike Goodson guy seems like he's trying. Yeah, he was good. I was impressed by him. Houston at the Jets. Houston's 4-5. Doesn't seem like they lose every week. How are they 4-5? That is incredible. I'm going to say Jets by 6.5. You should have said 7 because that's what I said, and that was I hit it right on the head. Yeah, so. You're really coming on. You're kind of like who's a team that's coming on right now? That was way out of it. Cowboys? You're the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. I like to think of myself as the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. I'm up 3-2. Yeah. By the way, that Jet game was -3. I texted you. It went to -140. They wouldn't move it off to 3.5. People must have crazy stories about betting the Jets yesterday. Just you think you're dead in the water, giving 3 or 3.5 if it ever moved.
What do you think? I was thinking about this yesterday. What was a worse gambling loss? The Browns, if you had the Browns +3, or if you had the Texans? Because I think the Browns is worse. Because at least with the Texans, you might lose an OT, and it's in Jacksonville. Like,
right.
You're not feeling fantastic
because you were down 2 touchdowns. But the Browns blew that game. Let's say you had 3.5, because that Jet game did eventually go to 3.5. With Folk missing his field goals, which you would have won with, and Stuckey fumbling, and just being able to kill the clock inside your own 5, and because
that was
any of those things.
The Stuckey fumble, crowd's going crazy. He's got the first down.
Yeah.
And then he does the thing, and he can never kill guys for this because you always want your guys to fight for the yards, but it seems like this is always when guys get in trouble. Mm-hmm. That's what happened to Gronkowski last week.
Right.
But the crowd just went dead silent. I don't know if you didn't have that game on the big screen.
No, by then we put it on. Yeah.
Crowd went from and it was like a vacuum. Just the sound went dead. But then to have that play happen when you basically have it, followed by the interception where you're excited again, and then all of a sudden the Jets have the ball in the 40. And how many times can a team have the ball in that range between the two 40s when it's like they need the field? They're going to kick the field goal, but it's like the defense moves up too far, and then it always seems like there's like a 40-yard overtime touchdown.
Yeah, they are unbelievable, this Jets team. Denver, Lions, and now yesterday with the Browns. I don't know what to make of it.
Me neither.
Oakland and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh last year with the Gronkowski beat down.
Is this an upset pick for us?
I don't know.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh by 6.
No, it's way higher. Well, I said 9.5. Wait, who gets this? I get it by 0.5 point. It's 8. Pittsburgh by 8.
That's too high.
They're not going to lose 2 in a row, though, right? What do you do with
Did you see their offensive line yesterday?
Yeah.
And possibly no Hines Ward.
Right. Well, that just makes Mike Wallace pulling 350 garbage yards.
I like the Raiders.
All right. Cleveland at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, like, as usual, lingering in the playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
All we want to do is cross them off, and we can't.
5-4.
Jacksonville by 4.5.
I said 3.5. It's only 1. And that's dumb.
Holy mackerel. I'm just way off.
Well, I know Cleveland beat the Saints on the road, but they should sort of be a 3-point underdog against any winning team, right, on the road.
Yeah, and plus, how many games in a row has Cleveland played at home?
Mm-hmm.
They played New Orleans at home, right? Bye week.
No, New Orleans. They went to New Orleans.
Oh, they went to New Orleans. You're right.
I mean, that was a good road win. But
yeah, I guess it was.
Should be getting 3.
It was a good road win.
All right, Washington at Tennessee. I'm not sure what happened. We should remind people we're taping this before the Eagles-Redskins game.
Oh, yeah. That's not fair. Washington at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Tennessee by 6.5.
All right, I said 5.5, and it's 4.5.
Vegas zone.
Looking good here. Yeah,
good.
Detroit gave Washington 2.5, right? So Tennessee should be closer to 5.5, 6, I think, like we have it. But what's that?
The thing with Tennessee that I don't get is anytime I've picked them or wagered on them, and they have the ball, and you just want them to give it to Gus Johnson with screen passes and little sweeps, and never seems like they use him the way that you would use him in a video game.
No,
I would throw him a screen like 8 times a game.
I agree. And it's frustrating now. Now they have Gus Johnson and Randy Moss, and they won't use either of them the correct way. And I'm about to sign off on Randy Moss just sucking and not being worth it. He puts up more goose eggs than any good receiver in the history of football, doesn't he?
Well, he's been on my fantasy team this whole season, so I'm going to agree with you.
Well, I mean, and even like a Larry Fitzgerald who hasn't lit it up will still put up like 4 for 48 or something, but Moss just disappears like for games.
Yeah, I agree.
No sense. Green Bay at Minnesota.
Favre wants to see Dr. James Andrews.
Yeah, he's saying he played hurt. I'm surprised by this. He announced that he played hurt yesterday.
Funny how the shoulder hurt more after the loss. I'm going to say Green Bay by 3.
All right, this is the one that I was off by. I said Minnesota by 3. You hit it exactly. It's Green Bay by 3. I don't know why. I keep thinking these as must-wins for Minnesota, but Green Bay is better.
I like Green Bay.
You do, right?
Yeah, I think that finished off the Vikes. I love. What's funny is that with only 6 losses, they're not officially dead yet. It's even worse than like your Cowboys.
Well, could this be like a Cowboys-Giants scenario where the Vikings maybe aren't that good, but they light up just one more time to get back at their arch nemesis, and then they go away?
I don't know. They looked like they had checked out to me yesterday in that game.
Green Bay beat them 4 weeks ago, 28-24.
Could be Aaron Rodgers' last chance. This is good for him. His last chance to drive the stake into the heart of Favre.
Yeah. Favre is not doing. He should sit already. I mean, it's great that he announces a new ailment every week, but I mean, if this was Survivor, he would have been voted out a month ago. Probst would have chased him with a torch until he left.
At least Tavares would be able to scramble around a little bit, maybe create a play or two.
Yeah. Buffalo at Cincinnati.
Palmer did it again. The backdoor man.
I did feel bad for him with that T.O. pass. I mean, they were driving to win there, right?
Yeah. I'm going to say Cincinnati by 6.5, and that's about 3 points too high.
According to Vegas, it's 1.5 too high. Cincinnati by 5. I said 5.5, so I get that one too.
Yeah, that line should be 3.
I'm going to try not to watch a play of this game.
Yeah.
All right, heading into the late afternoon games, I'm up 7-3. And Tampa at San Francisco.
Oof. I really wanted San Fran season to end yesterday, just because I'm tired of thinking about them and reading about how they still think they're in it and all that stuff. And the Rams had a chance to. They had the ball in OT. You have the ball in OT, you should finish that game. I'm going to say San Fran by 3.
All right, you hit it exactly, and I was off 6 points by this. I said Tampa Bay by 3.
Yeah, they.
What are we waiting for here with the San Francisco team? They're 3-6. Tampa 6-3.
The thing about that San Fran game yesterday was that they had a bunch of touchdowns called back.
Yeah.
And this is a recurring theme with them. They have their penalties every week, and they shoot themselves in the foot all the time. But that was a pretty deceiving overtime game.
Well, this flies in the face of the message you left me late last night. Again.
Oh, I forgot I did that. I was drunk.
Another late night message, but I might as well play it since you went to the trouble. Here we go. My man Josh Freeman, he's going to San Francisco this week. It's going to be more popular than Harvey Milk riding a trolley car. Tampa Bay wins by 100. Josh Freeman, 14 touchdowns. And if it doesn't happen, I'm taking my dog for a walk. He just crapped out of Gronkowski. Say it with me, Gronkowski.
That's exactly what I said. I forgot I was hammered when I left.
Weird. You're all over the place with these things.
I love Josh Freeman. The teams that I've been riding this year, for the most part, have come through for me, except the one thing that I've been doing is going against the Bears, and they've been hitting me.
Yeah.
But, Tampa's been very good to me. Atlanta's been good to me.
Well, maybe we should write off 3 teams to not bet against. 3 teams we're not betting against the rest of the way for the next 6 regular season.
All right. I'd like to stay away from the entire AFC West if we could, except for Oakland. I trust Oakland. I like Oakland.
But I would say Chicago. I would say Tennessee. I wouldn't bet.
Yeah, let's stay away from Tennessee and Miami.
Yeah. All right. Well, that takes care of Thursday. I don't know what we'll be doing Thursday night, but
yeah. Well, we'll watch basketball.
Atlanta at St. Louis.
This is a game that if Atlanta's going to be a 1 or a 2 seed, that they should be able to gut out and win. And I'm going to say Atlanta by 3.5.
Okay, you get it. I said 4, and it's 3. And
a good team should win that game.
I'd like to pick it as an upset, but 10 days seems like enough preparation for the Rams, right?
It's really tough for the Rams to move the ball. Like their wide receivers, they just had so many injuries. Like it's hard for them to go down the field consistently. It seems like they can't score.
Earn his Rookie of the Year award, I think.
Yeah, I think he's been great. He really doesn't have a lot to work with.
Seattle at New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, it's Seattle. I'd like to add them to the list of teams we can't bet on, I guess. Really, Seattle?
I thought we agreed. I thought they were on board with the fact that they were just going to be the team that wins at home and loses on the road. They can't even stick to that.
But New Orleans should blow them out. It does seem like when Seattle has Hasselbeck, they have a different demeanor about them, though.
Yeah.
Maybe Whitehurst is so bad that they just go into the Sunday game thinking, oh, my God, we got no chance. This guy sucks.
Yeah.
And then they just get killed. I'm going to say New Orleans by 10.
All right, you get it. It's 11. I said 9.
Am I coming back here?
Closing the gap here. It's 7-6 me.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I picked the next one exactly right. It involves your team hosting the Indy Colts.
Oh, I'm going to get it exactly right, too.
Good.
Pats by 3.
Yeah, you got it. Oh, no.
That's a no-brainer line.
Could this be happening? You're really going to make a comeback here? Let's make an agreement, though. If and when the Pats win this Sunday, and I don't care how, let's put them at the top, best in the NFL, and you can't cry about how they suck and Brady's arm is dead and all that stuff.
Brady answered a lot of questions for me yesterday.
All right.
I was very concerned about him.
All right.
I do think he's hurt, though.
I think he's hurt?
I think something's up with him.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's just move on. Giants at Philly. That's Sunday night.
Ooh.
Philly gets 2 night games in a row.
I like the Giants. I don't even know what the line is, but I don't think they play 2 stinkers in a row. I'm going to say Philly by 3.
Well, we both had Philly by 3, and it's 2.5.
Well, that moves to 3 after they win tonight. We liked Philly tonight, right, against the Redskins? Enough with the Redskins.
I like the Redskins in the points, but, yeah, I have a feeling McNabb will have a 35-yard run down 3 late, and then Shanahan will take them out. And Philly.
You think the Redskins are going to beat Philly twice this year?
I think it's just a grudge game.
All right.
I do. Sort of like that Green Bay-Minnesota game. It'll be closer than we think.
All right, Monday night.
This is it. You have to win this to tie me.
Come on, baby.
Count them out real quick. 9. Yep, 9-8.
Yeah.
Denver at San Diego.
Oh, the dreaded AFC West.
Yep.
God. Hate the AFC West. I'm going to say San Diego by 7.5.
Oh, come on. How did I lose this week or tie? I
What
said
was it?
7, and it's 9.5.
Oh, 9.5.
9.5.
That's too high.
Vegas loves San Diego.
Why is that?
I don't know. Just make the spread even because it's going to be a 40-point game either way, isn't it?
Taking the points in that one.
Yeah.
At least Denver can move the ball a little. All right, 3 minutes to talk about Pacquiao.
Just the greatest. He is so much fun, and I hate that we even doubt him for a second. You know.
I know. Well, it's you do find yourself doubting him when he's standing next to a guy who outweighs him by 20 pounds. Like at some point, it's becoming comical.
I know, and that's what's great about him. Like it's we're so used to these lame fights, and like maybe the smaller guy wins, but it's 7-5, it's close. Like Pacquiao knew he's like, all right, maybe I can't knock him out, but I'm going to render him unrecognizable. I'm going to beat up his face. He spent all day in the hospital. He broke like an orbital bone in his eye.
Well, his corner really did him a disservice because it was clear that his eye thing was not a typical black eye, and that something was really wrong.
Right.
And they just kept throwing him out there, and Margaret's like, no, don't stop this, I'm fine. And his corner's like, oh, he says he's fine. Meanwhile, his eye is swelling up.
Yeah, and Pacquiao took the last 2 rounds off. And, normally I'm like, stop the fight, but a guy who loaded his gloves with the intention of, ending a couple guys' careers and then he made fun of Freddie Roach. I wouldn't have minded him putting him away.
It was the least bad I've ever felt for somebody whose right eye was kind of falling off his face.
Yeah. But I love rooting for, at this point, if I find out Pacquiao did steroids, I'm gonna be more upset than if my mother was sleeping with Spencer Pratt. I want to believe the magic, It's just phenomenal.
Joe Mead's going to have to bleep this, but a friend of mine was talking about what a bad sports weekend he had, and he was like, the only good thing was that I'm a huge Pacquiao fan, and that was fun. And I'm like, saying you're a Pacquiao fan is like saying you love Who is not a Pacquiao fan at this point?
I know. But didn't you feel like a couple fights ago we would have maybe taken Mayweather over Pacquiao, and now I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if I ever fought.
Well, I was thinking about it during that fight. Is it possible that maybe bigger and a little slower is kind of tailor-made for him? It seems like to beat him, you might have to be faster than him and move around and kind of move away from him and jab. Because Margarito was hitting him with that jab.
Right.
Maybe that's
advantage. Right. The speed advantage becomes more of an advantage as he goes up in weight.
Because he hits like a guy who's 25 pounds heavier anyway.
Yeah.
So when he's fighting these guys who are bigger, and he's smart enough, like he never allowed himself to get in the ropes. Mm-hmm. Margarito, that was his game plan, and within 3 rounds it became clear that wasn't going to happen. But I want to know, like, how high can he go? Like, can he fight? Like, what did Margarito weigh? Could he fight a middleweight? Could he fight Kelly Pavlik?
Well, I texted you. I think he would beat Vitaly in 5 rounds and Vlad in 9. I think. No, I would like. Kelly Pavlik would be fun. It would just be sad to see him lose, though, right?
Well, could he fight? Like, here's somebody that would be like somebody who was in that tournament, the super middleweight tournament. Like with Jermaine Taylor and those guys.
Oh, yeah. Lacey,
but those guys are super middleweight. So who's like a mid? Like he should fight a middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that like he could keep going up to like 168.
Well, he's going to have to because he's not showing Mayweather any flaws. If I'm Mayweather, I'm like, I'll just keep tacking my 95-pound girl. I'm going down in weight, or you go up.
But if we could have a flyweight move up in weight and eventually win the middleweight title, I would say that's like one of the 8 most unbelievable things that's happened in my lifetime in sports.
Yeah, he's great.
Hearns went up from 147, and I think he won the light heavyweight. And he might have even won did he win the cruiserweight? I don't think he did. He definitely won the light heavyweight. He won.
Well, how light did Roy Jones start? I know it's a different thing.
I think Roy Jones was a junior welterweight, I think.
Junior welter, and he beat Ruiz, was a light heavy, right?
I think that might have even been a heavy. No, Roy Jones was a welterweight.
Yeah.
So so he gained 50? Or 190 is heavyweight. So he put on 43. But flyweight is like nothing. That's like a horse racing jockey.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like Jones beat Ruiz, it was probably like 7-5.
Yeah, and Ruiz is
Pacquiao's killing guys that are 20 pounds heavier than him. Just killing, like leaving no doubt.
Plus, Pacquiao's been on the show. I mean, when you see him in person, it kind of bangs at home how ridiculous this is.
He's smiling on the way down to the ring. It's fun. It's all fun with him.
It's incredible. It really is. And he's, imagine if boxing didn't have him.
Right.
He is right now the only guy who could command $64 in a pay-per-view. Like, you take him out, and there is no fighter and no fight that anybody's paying $64. Seriously, name me a fight other than the Klitschko's fighting each other.
I can't do it. But plus he's 4 and 5 to 1 odd favorites, and he's still getting the $65. So.
I mean, we had date night on Saturday night, so I couldn't see the fight live. And you had the same thing. Both of us pay-per-viewed the fight and taped it, and then went BlackBerry silence for 3 hours, so we didn't know the result. But there's nobody I would do that for other than him.
I know. I hope he appreciates it. He should come on and sing for us.
I agree with you. Him with the HGH thing would be for me even a little bit tougher than Manny and Poppy.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel so cheated. Like, really?
It's Santa Claus all over again. Yeah. Come on, Manny, please.
Well, and unfortunately for him, what he's doing is so incredible, but he's doing it in this era where you're just taught naturally to distrust anybody who's doing anything that seems superhuman. Mm-hmm. And I do think that that's factored into how people are treating him. Like, I do think there are people out there that think he's cheating. And he might be. I don't know. Who knows?
So powerful at that weight.
Crazy. So he fights a middleweight next. I'm going to have a boxing guy come on and give me a... Maybe I'll have Dan Raphael.
I don't even know where anyone weighs anymore, but I would like Pavlik. I would like to see Pavlik. I like Pavlik too, but...
Pacquiao-Pavlik would be unbelievable. I would pay like $500 for that.
He'd be too heavy. He'd be too big. But
it would really be like Rocky versus Thunderlips.
Yeah. And the other thing we saw with Pacquiao, those were monster uppercuts he took in the what was it, the second round?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he could take a pretty good punch, but oh god, Pavlik might be getting too big.
Well, I remember way back, Billy Conn versus Joe Louis. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty sizable size difference.
You were very young.
Yeah, I pay-per-viewed it, but I don't remember. I was minus 22.
Right.
But I think that was like Conn was like a light heavyweight who moved up, and Lewis was a legit heavyweight. But Conn fought at like 175 or something, and Lewis was like.
Well, I was talking about it with like Carolla, and you look at Evander Holyfield, like all the much bigger guys he beat, in his prime, and he was at best a light heavy, beating like Riddick Bowe, and who else is he in against?
I think he might have been doing a lot of things that maybe weren't legal at the time, because he put on some major weight.
Let me get real quick. Last, was it Wednesday, we played softball. It was Jimmy's birthday. We rented a field, UCLA baseball field. We rented it out. A bunch of us from the show were invited to play. You were invited to play. You showed up but didn't play.
I know.
What is that? What's that about? We do this every 6 years.
I have a torn rotator cuff.
Oh, come on.
I did. What do you want from me? I have a torn rotator cuff. I got to get it fixed.
What did you? A torn rotator cuff?
I have a torn rotator cuff. I don't know how I had it. I'm old.
How did
can't
this happen?
To be honest, it's a mystery.
How are you typing?
It's a mystery, and I don't understand how it happened. And I think it's because I sleep on the right side of my body, on like basically with my head on my arm, and I think it just like ruined my rotator cuff somehow.
I can't believe this.
I'm going to go to Dr. James Andrews.
You should have. We were on the UCLA baseball field, and I just thought you'd get up there and take a swing. I'm sorry.
I know, but it's like I would have been depressed.
Yeah, I know, but that's good for the rest of us.
The highlight for me though was seeing everybody run the 90-foot bases.
90-foot bases.
It was awesome.
Cold night, dead ball.
Yeah.
16 on each side. You were either going to hit into an out or get a single. Like, Jimmy, we got to take some guys off the field. We have to rotate people. And he's like, no. Let everyone play the field. I'm like, we're going to play. It's going to be a 2-1 game after 7 innings. And sure enough, we played 9 innings and it ended up 4-3. And on Jimmy's birthday, Guillermo, our parking lot security guard, hits a hard liner to him, and Jimmy gets crossed up, and it goes behind him and into the outfield. Jimmy's team loses.
I did. The other thing I loved was that Jen Sharon, who works for the show, who played softball in college, who was pitching, who knows exactly where to throw every pitch so that the people on the other team, even though they know they shouldn't swing, they can't help it, and they raise their elbows 4 inches too high, and they end up popping out.
Right.
But then when her boss, Jimmy Kimmel, came up, suddenly those pitches were
yeah,
meatballs.
And there were a lot of people on that. Like, we had people like producers yelling at their husband for catching Jimmy's fly ball in left field. I'm like, all right, what is it? Is he Kim Jong-il? If guys start running away from his hits, I'm going to walk off this field and get pissed off.
Yeah, that was funny. Somebody robbed him of like an extra base hit, and everyone's like, oh.
Jimmy did not shake hands after the game.
He didn't?
No, he didn't line up. He went to the dugout, and then everyone waited for him to make a joke. It seemed like a good 5 minutes before he jokingly referred to Guillermo not having a job the next day. And they were like, oh, Pesci and Goodfellas. We all got a good laugh out of it.
They really should have been like a Larry Sanders episode 15 years ago. Somebody robs Larry in the softball game and gets fired the next day.
That's what it was.
All right, Cousin Sal.
Let me just promote real quick. Jimmy Kimmel Live, Unfriend Day. We're promoting Unfriend Day, National Unfriend Day, this Wednesday, November 17th. This is on Facebook. You get rid of all your overbearing pests that call themselves your friends on Facebook. You know, the ones that alert you to the fact that they're hungry for fruit by the foot every 6 minutes. So we're going to have a mass Unfriending Day this Wednesday.
I performed that day a year ago when I dumped Facebook entirely.
Good. Do that too.
Because I was in on that pretty early about how just don't care. I don't care that you just drove your kids to gymnastics and now you're on your way to the grocery store. I don't want to know.
They must be stopped.
Hey, I really think that this I can't even say it. I think this Pavlik-Pacquiao matchup could be our destiny.
Yeah.
We'll be credited as the two guys who on some random podcast came up with this idea.
That would be great. And then on to Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah. If he beats Pavlik, he gets Brock. That's good.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
All right, Billy, see you.
All right, good job.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
We wrap up the BS Report with this final thought. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, so build a better one at Subway with tasty choices like the delicious 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any scrumptious egg muffin melt. That's a lot of breakfast for a little coin. And for a limited time, come in before 11 a.m. for the two newest $5 footlong breakfast subs, the hunger-busting steak, egg, and cheese, or the new Sunrise Subway Melt, just $5. Only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.